Okay, the next project comes from Brazil, and it's called the Fazenda do Ribeiro do Qüeba. I tried to say it, right? But you'll say it better. And it's presented by director Helvecio Marins and the producer Eliane Ferreira. A big warm welcome to you.
Good evening. Okay, my name is Eliane Ferreira. I'm coming from Brazil. I am the producer of Helvecio next feature film. It's a very difficult name in Portuguese to say, so the name is A Fazenda do Riberão do Qüeba. I met Helvecio this year in Berlin Film Festival. We have a dinner together, talk about our thoughts about life, films, and everything, and we get this emphasize about things that we think together in the same way. So when he asked me to produce him in their next two films, and send me the treatments, and I read the treatment of the two films, and he said, okay, you choose what you want. I said, oh, I want the both, because I really felt the same motivation that he have to make these stories. So this story, it's about, I'd like to introduce a little bit Helvecio. His first feature film was premiered the first time here in Venice Film Festival. The name of the film is Giustinian, was in the Horizonte competition, and the interesting thing about this film, who connects to this other film that we are presenting to you, is because Helvecio works with non-professional actors. Giustinian was really interesting because they are non-professional actors living their own themselves and in a fictional history, as this film will be. So for this film, Helvecio starts to research 5 years ago in the countryside of Brazil, because he wants to find a place and characters to could tell this story who is really important now for us. This story, it's about a universe who reflects now the social and the political situation in Brazil. It's about sometimes people who live in the big cities are always complaining about the people who came from the countryside to live in slums and completely poverty on these big cities. But what people doesn't realize sometimes is that people came to the big cities because they don't have choice to stay in their lands, in the countryside of our country. So they don't have the opportunity to continue in the land. So they have to go to the big cities to try to find work and to try to improve their lives to continue to live. Our film, will be situated on this place, Riberão do Qüeba. This is the way that we go through this city, who is 700 kilometers from a big city, who is Belo Horizonte. And this farm is situated, the situation of this farm that we will show to you is around this farm, we will see a lot of new things happens. The eucalyptus plantations starts, and this kind of plantation makes two really tough things for the people who lives in the countryside. One, that this kind of plantation really are not good for the land. And the second, they don't need humans to continue work on this kind of plantation for this film. So this is about our story that Helvecio now will tell it for you. Thank you.
Buonasera a tutta gente. I have to use this because this is not my language and it helps me a lot. This farm is a microcosm of our history and where our characters live. For this film, I developed a kind of two different worlds, let's say. That one is the farm, and another one is the city, like Eliane said, 40 kilometers from there. So we have a main character, as Badu. Badu is a very strong guy, mentally and physically also. And Badu will be the guy who make the connections with the people from the farm and the things that they need always in the city, because they don't have many of urban common services in the city. Other characters of us are Margarida. She makes cheese in the farm, and she also make the food for the cowboys. And we also have a family. This is Roseni, and her three kids, and that nice macaw called Rosa. She lives in the farm too. She was fine there, and she also is a character of us. Then comes Dona Brasilia, which is my main actress from Jirimunho, from my first feature. And I have a very long relationship with this woman. So, the film starts presenting these people working in the farm in their everyday life. And then, so it makes, I think, the audience understand how these people live and how do they work. The second part of the film introduces what I call elements of the power. I can explain it a little later now, but then we start, in this moment of the film, we start with our characters having some problems, like everyone in our life has something to do and something to do. And then back of those elements of power I said, the first thing we'll see is Margarida, the girl who makes cheese, going to the court to try some social issues. And the judge, in a very stupid way, doesn't understand that she's analphabet, illiterate, and he just cancel her social issue. This is one of the things that one of the big problems in Brazil, that the people who makes the laws are in the big cities. They don't understand about this countryside life. So, also we see Dona Brasilia with 92 years old, still waiting 92 years for an electrical energy in her house. Then something changed in the film, because the owner of the farm comes from Belo Horizonte with 700 kilometers, comes to the farm. When he comes to the farm, everything starts to turn around him. And everything changes in the everyday life in the farm. He usually go 2 or 3 days and 3-4 times a year. And when he leaves, everything comes back to that word. Then suddenly some unexpected things starts, and we see one of them is we see the son of Dona Brasilia, João. He goes to hunt a wild animal just to put some meat on their table, and João is under arrest because he killed this animal. Again, laws making by the people of the city. And this turns, when this happens, Dona Brasilia will be very sad, sure, and she dies of sadness. When she dies, it's more about at the end of the film. It turns Badu's mind really, really bad and crazy, and with everyone in the farm. But then they have a worse notice yet, because the owner of the farm advised them that the farm will be sold for a big eucalyptus plantation. And Badu and them, in some way, they don't accept this notice. And then comes something between reality and the things that they create. I really like to work with these things. It's one of my special things to direct actors or non-professional actors. Then comes some point of view, because for me, in some way, they have to fight for their land. Because I feel that it in some way really belongs to them. I feel when I see them, they have like the color of that land. They have their land really on their souls. It's something very strong that I hope that this film can show it to you. very end. So the film ends with a scene like this. The eucalyptus company are arriving. And the workers of this big company are taking the sign of the farm and changing it for the eucalyptus plant. And then the people of the farm will wait them a little bit like this, and with no guns, but looking a little bit mad like this. This is my point of view, for some way to fight for their land. That's it. Thank you very much.
That was good. Just a little bit long, but it was good.
Yeah.
You're getting there. The next pitch will be 7 minutes, I'm sure.
Okay. We did it.
Okay.
8.
Who would like to ask a question? Anything you would like to know?
10.
You have. Yes, Jane.
Could you say a little bit more about how you work with the non-professional actors in recording the scenes?
Wow, this is
Briefly.
long because I have a method that I more or less created. Sure I watched things too, but I really there is no logical, I think, to work with non-professional actors, and they always have myself as a very big reference. So all my team is out of the scene. There's just me, the photographer, and the sound. We have a very good relationship. And many times to work with them, even me, I have to be out of the scene. I have never used monitors. I don't like. I like just to watch the scene. Then sometimes I just let them play. I never introduce the script. I also shoot in the chronological order, which facilitates a lot for them. So sometimes I do like, let's say, I do short, reverse shot. I really make dramaturgy. It's not a documentary at all. Sometimes I also have to hide my scene during the shooting because they look too much per me, like, is that right, Helvecio, or not? And I don't like that. So sometimes I hide in the table, I hide behind a wall or something. And the Ivo and Gugu, I consider them really partners of mine, then I already know. And then sometimes I get in again and I say something in their ears or in the ears of the actors. I provoke them to with the situations. I more or less make them tell what I want in some way. More or less very resumed because, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, Brazilians.
Easier to do than to say, hey?
Yeah. For me, yes.
Helvecio, you talk about the 3 acts and you told us a lot about this place. How long is this film going to be, more or less, by now? What do you think?
Sorry, what do you mean, how long?
Tamanho do filme.
The length? Or
Yeah.
90 minutes, let's say. Okay? Something like that.
You have a good editor?
I think between 80 and 100 minutes. Okay?
You have a good editor?
Yes, actually 2.
Very good.
Very good. And listen, I mean, is this really happening to the Fazenda? Or is it something, I mean, will they have to abandon the farm because of the eucalyptus in real life? Or is this something that you just feel around?
No, they really have to. This landscape has changed a lot. This eucalyptus plantation, it's very bad for the soil. And also it's very bad because it's a kind of plantation that they just, people, it's very, you don't need people to work on it. You plant the trees, and then at 20 years old, you come back there and take the trees to make the wood. So it's not only the landscape, it makes a really big social change in Brazil. And like Eliane said in the beginning, we more or less know this story.
And they feel this very much.
Oh yeah,
This pressure, yes.
and I feel that too, because I feel that area, the same area of Girimunho too, I feel myself from there too, and in some way it leaves me sad too, like a lot of things in my country.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.